Revealed, how a homeless girl's heartwarming lesson transformed a billionaire's daughter forever. Lily huddled under the concrete overpass. Her scruffy hair danced in the chilly Chicago breeze. A lumpy, second-hand backpack sat beside her, heavy with scant belongings. Each morning, she woke to the same sights and sounds, the rumble of traffic overhead, the distant sirens, the cries of another dawn. Yet, despite her rugged existence, Lily thrived on resilience. She never hesitated to share her meager resources: an old apple, a forgotten blanket, with the veterans that crossed her path. Each moment she offered kindness was another thread woven into the fabric of hope. Meanwhile, across town, Emma sipped her morning juice in a lavish mansion, the sun glittering off marble countertops. She was drowning in privilege, with the best schooling, designer clothes, and an endless stream of lavish galas, yet feeling emptier than ever. To her parents, she was a trophy, someone to mold into perfection. She felt like a ghost, trapped in a gilded cage. Seeking a break from the oppressive expectations, she decided to volunteer at a shelter for the summer. At first, it felt like an obligation, an escapade painted with good intentions. But the moment she stepped inside the shelter, the laughter of the residents wrapped around her. Stories poured out like rain, each heavy with laughter and pain intertwined. And then she met Lily, whose fierce gaze pierced through her naivete. "You don't know anything about real life," Lily said, her voice steady. Those raw words struck Emma hard. The shelter was a world apart, engulfed in grit and struggle, a stark contrast to Emma's sterile existence. It was there that she learned of harsh realities, landlords raising rents, discrimination, and the fear of uncertain tomorrows. Emma felt a fire ignite in her gut, but as the days passed, the pressure from her privileged peers grew. They scoffed at her outreach, their disdain palpable. "You hang with those people? Really?" Conflict swirled around Emma as she began to witness a crisis brewing. Funds were cut, the shelter's survival was at stake. Anxiety loomed like a storm cloud, and divisions formed, cleaving friendships. Emma's newfound awareness clashed with her old life. The echoes of her peers, urging her to return to safety, haunted her, and there was Lily, unwavering and undeterred as she rallied shelter residents together. Her determination was contagious, it beckoned an unthinkable challenge. Emma stood on the edge of her choices: surrender to the comfort of her family's wealth, or throw herself into a fight for justice. This was no longer about a summer gig, it was a quest for purpose. Just as their friendship blossomed, tensions escalated. Emma felt her heart racing, torn between loyalty to her father, the man who built his empire on wealth, and the desire to change. At a high-stakes charity gala, she held her breath. The crowd buzzed in anticipation. Her father's shadow loomed large, but Lily's spirit flickered in her mind. Could she summon the courage to speak out? "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Emma swallowed hard, the room hushed as she opened her mouth, poised to confront the expectations surrounding her. The tension was electric, swirling thickly in the air. Would she choose the suffocating embrace of privilege, or would she step into the tempest of change? Silence echoed, her heart pounding louder than the questions swirling in the crowd. Emma's voice cracked as she stepped forward. The spotlight seemed to magnify the weight of her decision. Every eye in the elegant ballroom was fixed on her. Behind them, laughter from glimmering chandeliers and the clinking of crystal glasses felt surreal. This wasn't her world, yet here she was, teetering on the brink of a life-changing choice. She opened her mouth, and words spilled out in an unexpected rush. "I want to talk about the shelter." The murmurs swept through the crowd like a wave. Her father's face darkened, knitting tighter into an expression she had seen too many times, a mix of embarrassment and disbelief. Yet, the fire within her spread. She had come too far alongside Lily to hold back now. The shelter is struggling, Emma continued, feeling the tremor in her voice transform into conviction. Lives are at stake. These people are not just statistics, they're real. Each one has a story. And they matter. The weight of her own privilege felt like a mantle, heavy on her shoulders. Lily had shared her dreams, her fears, and her hope. Emma recalled the smile on Lily's face when she had discovered joy in small, seemingly insignificant moments. We need to fight for them, not just watch from the sidelines. Emma declared, her heart racing. Gasps rippled through the audience, some faces frozen in shock while others morphed into expressions of judgment. Her father shifted in his seat, disbelief cascading down his face. He was a titan of business, but this? This was personal. Emma. Sit down. He hissed, but she was already too deep into the moment. The air crackled with tension. Emma caught a glimpse of her friends exchanging sideways glances, their eyes narrowing in disapproval. Disappointment flashed through her, but it flickered like an ember from the fires of her new conviction. Emma pressed on, providing tangible ways the audience could help, donating clothing, volunteering time, spreading awareness. It no longer felt like an obligation, it was a calling. If we stand together, we can make a difference. Let us challenge our comfort zones and build bridges together. Applause erupted from unexpected corners of the room. A handful of guests, perhaps those who had known struggle or who genuinely cared, began applauding. Slowly, it built into a wave of acceptance as more joined in. Emma's heart soared, feeling like she was in a sync with the room, with life itself a collective heartbeat echoing the very essence of empathy. But then, a low murmur of discontent arose from the crowd. Not everyone was on board. The whispers intensified, forming a lingering shadow above her revelation. Some guests rose to their feet, shaking their heads in disdain, echoing her father's sentiments. That's not how we do things. One shouted, crushing dread washed over Emma. What had she done? A shiver ran down her spine as she realized that her fight didn't just begin with her declaration, it would come with challenges that could unravel her life. Then, through the chaos, she spotted Lily's unwavering presence, imagining her rallying spirit as a burning torch lighting the way. That flicker of hope was enough to propel her forward. As the backlash threatened to drown her resolve, Emma gathered her breath, grounding herself in a purpose that transcended the empty glitter of the gala. I won back down, she proclaimed, her words steady and filled with an unwavering spirit. How could she convince others to share that view? Would Lily's passion help ignite real change? Did Emma have the strength to stand alone if it came down to it? The night was far from over, and Emma was ready to find out just how deep this fight would take her. The clapping faded into a heavy silence, echoing Emma's pounding heart. She scanned the crowd, noting the mixed expression. Some eyes bore the weight of admiration while others were narrowed with disdain. It was a swirl of emotions that sent her thoughts careening. Where could she go from here? Lily's gaze was like an anchor, grounding Emma amid the chaos swirling around her. They had spent countless nights sharing dreams, struggles, and hopes. Each time they talked, a spark ignited in Emma, urging her to act, to believe that she could create change. Now, she needed that fire more than ever. Maybe I should have thought this through, she murmured to herself, anxiety creeping in. But then, she remembered Lily's stories. Lily, who had faced hardships Emma could scarcely imagine. It wasn't just about the shelter, it was about a life lived in the shadows of society's indifference. And if Emma wanted to truly help, she needed to keep pushing forward. Why are we here? She suddenly shouted, her voice gaining strength. Is it just to sip champagne and flaunt our riches, or to make a real difference in our community? Think about the impact we can have. Gradually, hesitant voices joined her, murmuring their agreement. An older woman stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with unshed tears. My husband lost his job, and we nearly ended up in that shelter ourselves. We're not that far removed from them. Emma could feel the shift in energy, the vulnerability hanging in the air. But not everyone was convinced. Her father launched to his feet, face clouded with anger. This is not the place for this conversation. You are embarrassing our family with this nonsense. His words were sharp, but deep down, Emma felt a growing sense of defiance. No, Dad. This isn't nonsense. It's necessary. The tension in the room crackled like electric sparks. Around her, murmurs escalated, some eager now, others bitterly resistant. Emma realized that while she had ignited a flicker of hope, she had also sparked a formidable opposition. The path forward would be anything but simple. As the crowd began to stir, someone shouted from the back. If you want to make a change, show us what you can do. That was it. Emma felt the challenge, the urgency. Okay. She exclaimed, clutching the edge of the podium as if it could lend her strength. Let's set up a fundraiser right here, right now. I'll personally match every donation dollar for dollar. The words tumbled out before she could fully process them. But they felt right, like a call to action that resonated within her soul. Her father's expression shifted from anger to sheer disbelief, but Emma didn't care. She turned to face the crowd again, her voice steady. We need to come together as a community and support this cause. Every dollar can change a life. In that moment, it was as if Emma's vulnerability had cracked open a doorway into the hearts of some attendees. The applause started again, this time stronger, more vigorous. She could see hesitation melting away, replaced by the flickers of understanding and compassion, but the resistance was still palpable. A tall, suited man with cold eyes stood up and shook his head. You really think money can change anything? People need more than donations, they need opportunity. And you think a gala is going to solve that? His challenge hung in the air like a weighty cloud. It was true, Emma was beginning to realize that her mission was more complex than she had ever imagined. Donations alone would not fix the wounds inflicted by poverty, but could her actions spark a broader awareness? Emma squared her shoulders, feeling the weight of the world on them. Opportunity starts with us. If we don't act, who will? As applause erupted again, the energy shifted. It felt like the tide had turned, but she could sense the skepticism still lurking. Emma knew that she was standing at the crossroads of her journey. With determination highlighted by resolve, she took a deep breath and wondered, was she ready to carry the fight beyond this evening? Would she have the strength to face the battles that lay ahead? Just then, she noticed Lily slip into the room, her presence a soothing balm. Emma's heart brightened, but a flicker of anxiety crept in again. What would Lily think now? Would her friend support her new path, or would this rift drive them apart? Emma felt the weight of the night's revelations and the uncertainty of what was to come. The true fight was just beginning. The applause faded, and Emma's gaze locked onto Lily's. She could see the uncertainty swirling in her friend's eyes. Would Lily understand? Would she stand by her side or retreat into the comfort of silence? The weight of that uncertainty felt heavier than the expectations of the crowd. Lily stepped forward slowly, the light glinting off the silver charm bracelet that Emma had given her years ago. It was an unspoken reminder of their bond. Emma, she began, her voice trembling slightly. I believe in you, but this isn't just about the money. You know that, right? Emma felt heat rise in her cheeks. I know, but it's a start. We have to show them that we care. If we can just get them involved, maybe that will spark something bigger. She could hear the tremor in her own voice, mixing fear with conviction. I get it, Lily replied, her eyes softening. But people need to feel like they matter beyond their wallets. You have the chance to inspire them, to make them feel important, not just as donors, but as part of something significant. As those words sank in, Emma felt a little crack forming in her bravado. She had been so focused on the impact of money that she hadn't considered how she could help people find their own voice. But her heart raced. Was she really prepared to take on that level of responsibility? Her father's stern face loomed in her mind, and the crowd shifted again, whispering amongst themselves. "Emma, I think you're capable of leading something greater than a fundraiser," Lily continued. There was a spark of inspiration behind her words, lighting a fire deep within Emma. With newfound clarity, Emma responded, "You're right. We can create a program, a mentoring initiative. Let us connect the wealthy members of our community with the people seeking jobs and opportunities. It's not just about money, it's about building lives." A wave of murmurs broke out, some gasped in surprise, while others were skeptical. Emma pressed forward, urgency in her voice. "Imagine how many lives we could change. People struggling need support, direction, guidance. That's where we come in." Emma could feel the pulse of the crowd shifting again, this time becoming less defensive and more curious. Her father's hardened expression softened slightly, yet she felt his gaze still bore the weight of skepticism. "I'm in," Lily declared firmly, nudging Emma back into the spotlight. "We can set up workshops, provide skills training, partner with local businesses. This is bigger than just a donation. It's about empowering our community to thrive." More voices chimed in, supporters rising like a tide, but Emma could still hear the groans of naysayers. "Can you really bring this together?" The suited man had risen again, doubt written across his face. Emma took a deep breath, her heart racing. "Yes. But I'll need help. All of your help. If we join forces, we can actually build something that lasts, something that creates real change." The energy in the room cracked with potential. Just then, a young woman with a tear-flecked face rose from the crowd. "I've been in that shelter," she said, her voice trembling but steady. "We don't need just financial support, we need a chance to stand on our own feet again." Emma's heart swelled. This was it, the moment she had been fighting for. She looked around, eyes shimmering with determination. But amid the heartwarming agreement gathering strength, she could feel the chilly undertow of uncertainty. Was she being naive? Could she really ignite the kind of change she envisioned? As applause erupted once more, Emma smiled through the cloud of doubts. Her resolve was solidifying, but in the back of her mind lingered the question, would the community she hoped to inspire truly rally behind her, or would she find herself alone in her ambition? With uncertainty brewing in the air, Emma felt the stirrings of anticipation. A partnership waiting to be formed, and a battle waiting to unfold. She raised her hands, inviting the room to join her on this journey into the unknown. What would it take to not only convince them but also inspire them to act? Would she learn the true art of leadership, or would she falter at the first hurdle? The room buzzed with energy and a mixture of emotions as the reality of Emma's proposal settled in. She could see faces shift from skepticism to hope, yet there were still those hanging back, arms crossed, doubt etched on their features. Emma squeezed her eyes shut for a moment, drawing in a steadying breath. She could feel the warmth of Lily's supportive presence beside her, but the weight of expectation felt heavier than before. "Let us brainstorm." The idea sparked in Emma's mind like a firework in the night sky. "We can break into small groups. Share ideas on how we can implement this program. It starts with us believing we can do this together." She scanned the crowd, searching for affirmation, a glimmer of enthusiasm. Cautiously, people began to nod, exchanging cautious glances. Some shuffled forward, curiosity overtaking their hesitation. Emma's heart raced at the shift. This was possible. The crowd started to split as groups formed and conversations ignited around her. In moments, the air was saturated with talk of initiatives, skills to teach, and ways to reach out. Lily leaned in, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "See? They're ready, Em. They want to help. Look at them." But in the back of Emma's mind, doubts began to circle like vultures. What if they lost momentum? What if the energy fizzled and people backed away when the hard work started? The thrill of the immediate moment almost drowned out the anxious whispers, but she couldn't ignore them. A newcomer joined one of the groups, her eyes wide with eagerness. She wore a bright pink coat, a stark contrast to the somberness around her. "I've been through so much, and I know what I needed most was someone to listen. We could organize listening circles. Not just teach skills, but also give people a safe space to vent, to share." Emma's heart swelled at the suggestion. Listening. It seemed so simple yet so powerful. She stepped closer to the woman, absorbing the raw emotion pouring from her. "That's brilliant. Everyone has a story and those stories matter." The conversation took on a life of its own, people growing passionate as they contributed ideas. Emma was taken aback by the depth of suggestions surfacing. Mentorship matches based on shared experiences, workshops that paired life skills with practical job training, and even a community garden where people could learn to grow their own food while building connections. But just as excitement swept through the room, Emma caught sight of her father. His lack of reaction stung. He remained seated, arms crossed. The concern etched in his brow had not dissipated. His presence alone was a weight, grounding her excitement with doubt. "Emma, this is wild," Lily whispered, her voice barely audible above the lively discussions. "You've truly turned the tide here, but what do we do if some of these ideas fall flat?" Emma had no answer. Not yet. The enormity of what they were attempting sat like a lead ball in her stomach. "I guess we'll have to adapt. Learn from it," she replied, forcing a smile. But even as she said it, her heart sank. What if they couldn't adapt fast enough? Suddenly, a hand shot up from the back of the room, drawing attention. It was the suited man, the one who had questioned her earlier. He stood, straightening his tie. "I've got reservations, Emma. You're speaking from the heart, but truly can we sustain this? Can we risk our reputations if it fails?" The energy in the room cracked. Silence enveloped them, filled with uncertainty. Emma felt the heat flood her cheeks again. She was ready to counter with a fiery rebuttal, to defend their vision, but the doubt in his eyes struck home. What if this didn't work? What if she failed? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Instead, she paused, looking around at the people who had jumped on board so willingly. They were excited, they were engaged. "Change is never easy," she finally said, her voice trembling yet resolute. "But if we don't try, how will we ever know what's possible?" The challenge hung in the air. Would they rally behind her, not just as a voice but as a united front? Or would the fear of failure reign once more? With the weight of her own doubts pressing heavily, Emma knew the next words she spoke would define everything. Could she unite them, and more importantly, could she rally herself against the uncertainty that threatened to overtake her heart? The silence stretched, and Emma felt the weight of eyes bearing down on her. All the questions and doubts tangled in her mind like a knotted rope. What if no one came forward? What if they all stepped back into their shells, leaving her standing alone? But just as she braced herself for more silence, a voice rose unexpectedly from her left. It was the woman in the pink coat, her face bright and earnest. "Emma, let me lead the first listening circle. I know how much I needed one, we all do. I want to help create that space." A ripple of murmured agreement spread through the crowd. One by one, heads nodded, and hands began to raise with other ideas. It was as if a dam had broken, flooding the room with a newfound energy. Emma's heart soared. They were beginning to believe together. Another person jumped in. "What about workshops on handling finances? That would have helped me so much when I was starting out." The group turned, ignited with conversation. Ideas tumbled over one another, echoing off the walls. Suddenly, each voice that joined felt like another brick laid on the path they were building, a path that led toward community and hope. Lily grinned, her enthusiasm contagious. "See? They're behind you, Em. This is it. But Emma's gaze drifted to her father once more. He remained unmoved, arms crossed tightly, his expression still cloaked in skepticism. A sharp pang of disappointment twisted in her chest. Why couldn't he see the potential, the power of what they were building? Can I talk? The voice cut through her thoughts, a young man stepping into the center. I've been through tough times myself and found a real lack of support. If we could create a mentorship program, I'd love to help share what I learned. Applause broke out. More voices rose to see how they could contribute. It was transforming like wildfire, and every suggestion was a spark setting hearts ablaze with excitement and determination. Emma had almost forgotten her father's presence until he stood abruptly. Emma. His voice was sharp, slicing through the lively chatter. This is all wonderful, but it's not practical. You're talking about some utopia that doesn't exist. You need a plan. You need structure. The energy in the room sputtered, and Emma's stomach dropped. Doubt swelled at the edges of her renewed hope. Had they pushed too far, too fast? What is your alternative? She snapped, driven by desperation. No one else has offered a plan here. We've got to start somewhere, even if that means stumbling along the way. His eyes narrowed, surprise flickering across his face, and the tension in the air was palpable. She could feel her heart hammer in her chest. Had she crossed a line? It was Lily who broke the heavy silence next. Maybe we need both. A structure helps guide us, but so does passion. We are not a company. This is a community. Emma's pulse raced as she looked at the crowd. Did they accept Lily's idea? A shift occurred like an undercurrent moving through the room. Slowly, a sense of togetherness returned, then someone else stepped up. What if we create a core team, a mix of passionate leaders and mentors who can keep everyone on track while allowing this to be flexible and organic? Emma felt a rush of relief. Now was the moment. Yes. This can grow. Her voice rang out, infused with determination. We will keep each other accountable. We will learn from our mistakes together. We can validate each other's voices while creating something beautiful. As each person began muttering their approval, Emma caught her breath. Would this really come together? Could they turn her vision into reality? Just then, the suited man spoke again. I suppose I could help with the structure part, he said hesitantly. If you want my input, maybe I could keep an eye on the progress. A wave of surprise washed over the group, the mood shifting dramatically. Hope fluttered back into the air, mingling with the laughter and applause. Yet as the excitement built, Emma glanced back at her father. His expression was unreadable, a mix of concern and contemplation. Could anything she accomplished today change that? With unresolved questions filling her heart, Emma stepped back as the discussions resumed. Would her father come around? Were they truly heading in the right direction? As the warmth of collective hope surrounded her, a question loomed: could they really forge something lasting out of their dreams, or was it simply another fleeting moment of passion? As the discussions continued, Emma felt a swell of emotion rise within her. People were actually coming together, sharing their ideas, all of it culminating in something far greater than just her initiative. It was a movement, a collective heartbeat echoing against the walls. But even amid the joyful noise, a thread of worry tugged at her heart. Her father still stood off to the side, his brows furrowed, watching everything unfold with a cautious gaze. Every laugh and cheer from the crowd felt like a challenge to his rigid views. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that despite all the progress, they were still worlds apart. Emma? Lily's voice pulled her from her thoughts. Are you all right? Emma nodded, forcing a smile. Just thinking about how to keep this going. We will, Lily assured her, squeezing her hand. You've already got people invested. It's only going to grow from here. But Emma couldn't help thinking of her father's words. Doubt crept back in like an uninvited guest, whispering that perhaps they were simply chasing an illusion. How could she transform that skepticism into faith? What would it take for her father to believe in her vision? Just as her mind swirled with these thoughts, the suited man spoke up again. I think we need to establish a meeting rhythm, maybe start with weekly check-ins. More heads nodded. The energy of determination danced through the room again, as new ideas sparked like fireworks. Emma's spirit lifted, pushing back against the clouds hanging around her father. Let us make a calendar with our ideas, someone suggested. Accountability starts now. Excellent. Lily beamed. We should set mini-goals, things we can achieve each week. Accountability, yes, but also a way to celebrate our progress. Amidst the chatter, Emma's heart swelled. Each suggestion felt like a piece of the puzzle falling into place. They were truly forming a community, breathing life and structure into their vision. As names began filling in on the calendar, Emma looked to her father one last time. Dad, what do you think? She called out. Your perspective matters too. This is about all of us. For a moment, he hesitated, shifting his weight. I think it's ambitious. His tone was softer than before, almost thoughtful. But ambition without a solid foundation is just a dream. The room quieted as they waited for his next words. Emma felt her heartbeat resonate, a mix of hope and apprehension. Maybe, he continued slowly, an initial budget outline could keep things in check. And if you all agree, I'd be willing to help with that. What? Emma gasped, her voice trembling with surprise. I didn't say it was going to be easy, he added quickly, a small smile struggling to break through his stoic demeanor. But it could work if we put the right structure in place. Applause erupted around the room, and Emma felt tears prick the corners of her eyes. This was progress. This was change. We will honor the plans we make, she said, her voice thick with emotion, because each of you matters. This is our home now. But somewhere buried deep in her mind, the question remained. Was this shift in her father a turning point, or just a temporary truce in their ongoing struggle? Could a shared purpose truly bridge the gap between them? As the excitement hung in the air, Emma let out a sigh of mixed relief and trepidation. The community was solidifying around her. But she knew, was this enough to mend her fractured relationship with her father? And in that moment, the truth cut through her, sharp and clear. What if the real challenge was just beginning? The room buzzed as people jotted down their ideas, the excitement palpable. Emma could feel the energy, a heartbeat that synchronized with her own. She watched her father, still standing a bit apart. His usually rigid features had softened just a touch, but she sensed the struggle within him. Could he truly embrace this? Emma, can you help me with this? A voice interrupted her gaze. It was Sarah, one of the newer members, pointing at the blank calendar. Of course. Emma smiled, and they leaned over the paper together. It felt right to be working side by side, to welcome new faces into the fold, and Sarah's excitement was contagious. Maybe we can host a community cleanup day? Everyone can pitch in. Sarah suggested. Emma nodded enthusiastically. Yes. It'll show that we care about our space, working together. They continued adding ideas, but Emma felt a strange sensation at the back of her mind, a nagging feeling that almost every suggestion had to contend with someone else's opinion. Where would her father stand when the ideas started to clash? As the group brainstormed, Emma caught a glimpse of her father again. He seemed to be lost in thought now, a storm behind his eyes. Just then, Lily stepped up beside her, reading Emma's concern. What's bothering you? It's just my dad, Emma sighed. He's trying to engage, but there's so much doubt in him. I want him to believe, to trust in us. Lily nodded. It's a process. Perhaps invite him to be part of the smaller discussions? If he sees how it grows, he might feel more secure. Good idea. Emma took a deep breath, feeling a flicker of hope tentative but there. As they wrapped up the initial meeting, Emma stepped away from the crowd, giving her father the chance to gather his thoughts. She approached him cautiously, uncertain of what to expect. "Dad?" Her voice wavered just slightly. "Do you want to talk?" He looked up, surprise etching his features. "I suppose I shouldn't I? Your feedback matters. I really want you to be part of this." He studied her, as if weighing her sincerity. "You understand it's a big leap from dreams to reality. I'm just trying to process all of this change." Emma swallowed her response, knowing this wasn't easy for him. "I get it. But what about the good? Look at the energy in that room." "Yes, but it's easy to feel optimism when everything looks bright," he replied softly. "It's when challenges arise that we'll see how strong this community truly is." His assessment struck a chord deep within her, echoing her own fear. What would happen when they hit their first bumps? "Challenges are part of it, Dad. But that doesn't mean we should give up. I need your support." His gaze softened. "You've asked for my entire belief in this, and I'm still learning." He paused, then added with a hint of warmth, "And I guess I can try to do this with you." Her heart soared at his willingness. "I really appreciate that." Emma stepped back and looked around, seeing the laughter, the voices, the light in everyone's eyes. She might finally be bridging her dad's skepticism with her hope. But even as she felt the possibility, the questions nagged at her: was this shift truly permanent? Or was it just an opening act in a much louder performance yet to come? And as her smile stretched wide, a new thought latched itself onto her heart: would she be able to rally her father when the darker days came? What lay ahead was the ultimate test of their new bond. Emma felt a rush of exhilaration as she stepped back into the room, her dad's tentative agreement blooming hope inside her. Yet, that hope danced with uncertainty. She knew the charm of community gatherings could fade when real problems emerged. As the evening went on, the energy thrummed in her chest. Each smile, each shared laugh layered over her insecurities. Sarah and others gathered to refine the cleanup day idea, poring over details. Emma hardly noticed the time flying by until she caught sight of her dad standing alone across the room, a firm set to his jaw. Something in his posture felt almost like a barrier, one she wished she could break down. "Hey, let us go talk to your dad," Sarah nudged gently, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Emma hesitated, her heart racing. What if he doesn't want to talk? "He needs to see this," Sarah said, waving her hand around. "All this energy. You're doing great work." With a breath to steady herself, Emma nodded and together they walked towards him. As they approached, a supportive hush fell over the group, sensing the shift in atmosphere. "Dad, we were just talking about the cleanup day," Emma said, her voice steady yet soft. "What do you think?" He glanced between Emma and Sarah, a flicker of indecision crossing his face. "I think it's an initiative. But will people show up? Will they care enough to make it a success?" Emma felt the weight of doubt in his words, but she also sensed the flicker of hope. "Maybe we don't know the answer yet, but we can't find out unless we try." "Yeah." Sarah chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. "It's all about creating that spirit. Plus, maybe you can even share some of your cleaning tips, Mr. Evans." Emma's heart raced at that. She knew her dad had a knack for practical solutions. She watched as a light sparked in his eyes, the crack in his barriers widening for just a moment. "Tips, huh?" he said, and his lips turned up at the corners. "All right, I might have a few up my sleeve." Emma grinned, feeling warmth spread in her chest. Little by little, they were breaking through. As the night wrapped up with high spirits, the sound of laughter echoed, and Emma pulled her dad aside, wanting to keep the momentum. "That could be a big step, Dad," she said softly, searching his face for a glimpse of connection. "You know, getting involved." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. It's so different from the world I'm used to. This community stuff, it's personal. And that's why it matters. It's about being connected, about belonging. She leaned closer, vulnerable but strong. It's about us, trying to make things better. He paused, gazing into her eyes as if seeking answers. I don't want to disappoint you. You won tea, she whispered fiercely. But it starts with trusting me, trusting us. They stood in silence, the buzz of the gathering a distant hum. Emma felt the walls around her father gradually pull down, brick by brick. She believed they could do this together, but fears shadowed her thoughts. What if it wasn't enough? What if real challenges pushed them back apart instead of pulling them closer? Finally, he nodded. All right, Emma. Let us see where this leads us. As she turned to walk back to the group, her heart swelled. They were on this journey together, and maybe, just maybe, they could build something beautiful from it. But then the next thought hit her like a wave. What would happen when they faced real obstacles? Would those cracks of hope hold strong when the storm came? With a mixture of excitement and dread, Emma joined the others, ready for the next steps. But awareness thrummed in her mind. This was just the beginning. Little did she know, the storm was closer than she thought. Emma stood at the forefront of the community gathering, her heart heavy with hope yet stirred by uncertainty. The energy from the night before still thrummed beneath her skin, echoing the clamor of laughter and ideas still ringing in her ears. She gazed at the faces around her, each one hopeful, yet still mired in fear. The new program they envisioned felt like a blazing beacon of potential, but every glimmer of anticipation came with a nagging emptiness. How would they transition from passionate rhetoric to meaningful action? As if sensing her turmoil, Lily stepped up beside her, an unyielding presence. Look at them, Em. They believe in this. She exclaimed, pointing to Sarah and a group of others engaged in animated discussion. It feels unreal, Emma admitted, her fingers nervously tapping against her temple. What if the excitement fades? What if they pull back when it gets hard? Lily placed her hand on Emma's shoulder. That's part of leading. We hold tight to the vision, but we also remain flexible when the winds shift. We adapt together. Emma inhaled, drawing courage from Lily's unwavering belief. You're right, she nodded, eyes scanning the eager faces. But how do we keep this momentum going? By staying connected. Encourage feedback. Celebrate little victories, Lily suggested, her voice steady and calm. Make them feel valued. With newfound resolve, Emma gathered the group and addressed them with sincerity. I know we've created something powerful together. But this isn't just about programs or workshops, it's about community. How do you all want to move forward? The response was immediate. Hands shot up, suggestions poured forth, and discussions ignited. The room buzzed once again with the desire to act, the very pulse of hope alive and tangible. Emma felt her chest swell as she witnessed transformation unfold before her eyes, but still, lurking at the back of her mind, was her father's skepticism. For every single voice of support here, there loomed his quiet criticism like a dark cloud threatening to rain on their parade. Later, as the group adjourned for the day, Emma spotted her father sitting alone on a bench outside. The tension in her stomach tightened. She approached him, filled with determination and a touch of trepidation. Can we talk? He nodded slowly, allowing her to sit beside him. Do you think we're on the right path? She asked cautiously, afraid of his answer. I'm still wrestling with it, he replied after a long moment, his voice edged with contemplation. You've got a fervor I haven't seen before, and it's admirable. Emma leaned in, hoping for more. You could help, Dad. You could share your expertise. I know you want to protect our family's legacy, but this is part of it. Just in a way that matters. He shifted slightly, looking out towards the street. Protecting a legacy means seeing the big picture, Emma. You can't let emotion cloud your judgment. That's what makes a legacy meaningful, she pressed, her voice steady and unwavering. It's about connection. It's about showing love. You think love will save everyone? He turned to her, skepticism laced in his tone. No, but it's a step. You showed me that change begins with action, small actions that accumulate into larger impacts. Isn't that what you taught me? The silence hung thick between them. Emma could feel the weight of his doubt, she could see him battling with the idea of embracing that which he could not fully comprehend. I have my reservations, Emma. But if you want me to lend a hand, please, Emma encouraged, her heart racing. Your presence alone gives the project credibility. People will listen to you. He sighed heavily, rubbing a hand through his hair. Fine. I'll help. But I want to do this my way, with structure. Deal. Emma exclaimed, unable to hide her excitement. We'll plan it out together. That's what this is about, us working together. Though a measure of apprehension still lurked beneath her father's stoic demeanor, she sensed a shift. It was hopeful, a small flicker that glimmered bright amidst the shadows. From that moment forward, Emma threw herself into the work, designing initiatives that reflected both their visions. The community rallied, involvement blossomed as they set plans into motion. But just as momentum built, the storm Emma had feared arrived. A devastating consultation report revealed they faced zoning issues, permits denied. It seemed everything was unraveling. The weight of uncertainty crashed down on Emma, thrumming like thunder in her heart. She stood before the community, confidence faltering under the pressure. But she could feel Lily's presence behind her, a silent support urging her to stand tall. Emma cleared her throat, forcing words through her constricted center. We can overcome this, she declared, her voice ringing stronger than she felt. This is a challenge, not an end. As she locked eyes with Lily, seeing the spark of affirmation ignite within them, that doubt slowly began to dissipate. We'll figure this out, together, she called, rallying the room. Let's brainstorm solutions. Think outside the box. And they did. They formed committees, pooled resources, and shared ideas, each member stuffed with renewed energy. Emma felt the community wrap around her, somehow stronger than before, united in their purpose. In the middle of the chaos, Emma stole a glance at her father. His ever-stony facade had given way to a hint of pride, a small crack in the armor he'd surrounded himself with. One sunny afternoon, after weeks of effort, the structural concerns were resolved, the permits granted, a victory that spun in celebration among the members of the community. Laughter echoed through the air, joy spilling forth like the bright sunshine-painted sky. As Emma glanced around, absorbing the rippling laughter and shared delight, she felt Lily's hand squeeze her arm. You did this, Em. You brought everyone together, and you've built something real. With tears in her eyes, Emma smiled, feeling the weight of joy and achievement collide. Then, she spotted her father, mingling with some of the members, sharing stories and insights, his laughter mingling harmoniously with theirs. Emma's heart swelled. Perhaps this was the real transformation. Let us stand tall, for every life touched and for every concern turned into hope, she whispered to Lily, who nodded, eyes twinkling with shared understanding. Together they stepped forward, ready to continue this journey of change. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, and surrounded by a community that now felt like family, Emma knew the fight for justice and purpose was only beginning. And as she embraced the challenge ahead, she felt a sense of equilibrium, a tether that connected her dreams with her father's vision. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together, she whispered inwardly, hope aflame in her heart. And she realized that together, they truly could make the extraordinary happen, one step at a time. Now, don't wait any longer. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support our journey to transformation. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. We want to hear from you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support, and don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of these actions. Let us keep this movement alive, together.